And then we have here also the stages in disaster management. So number 1 there is pre-disaster stage. So under pre-disaster stage, ibig sabihin yan, wala pa yung disaster, hindi pa dumarating. Okay? So nandyan, tinatawag natin na proactive phase. Proactive assessment. So with that, tinatawag din on leveling as level 1, and then color coding niya is green. So kailan ito? Ano yung gagawin in cases or in times of pre-disaster stage? So when there are no disaster or calamities, 1 is to conduct of risk mapping and identification of disaster-prone areas. Okay? So pwede nating maging study dyan is yung geographical location ng area. Okay? Yung lupa, okay? Yung level ng lupa, or yung kung malapit ba sa mga ilog, malapit sa mga dam, okay? Malapit sa ocean. Okay? So yun yung i-studyhin natin. So in order for us to create or to predict something. So if we see that there is a risk, then that's the time we could create a plan, okay? Preventive measure with that. Okay? And then on number 2, identification of staging areas, okay? Determination of evacuation routes and evacuation centers. This is very important. Okay? So usually na ina-assign dyan na evacuation areas, mga eskwelahan, okay? Or yung mga nasa mataas na lugar in cases of floods. Okay? Kung hindi eskwelahan, gymnasiums ng mga munisipyo. So those are some of the evacuation areas or centers na ginagamit natin. And then we have here on number 3, conduct of disaster drills. So nandyan, unang-una talaga na kinakandak, earthquake drill and then fire drill. Okay? Simulation exercises and trainings. So not only for the civilians but also with the team. Okay? Yung mga protocols din nila, i-exercise nila. Okay? Paano mag-rescue, paano mag-first aid, and others. So we have here on number 4, holding of regular task groups and sub-task groups meetings. That is further to create better plan. So anong mangyayari kung walang coordination, walang meeting na nagaganap? So hindi makakapag-share ng magagandang idea or magandang plano. So that is purpose of meetings also of those task groups. Tulad ng NDRRMC, okay, with the National Peace and Order Council, DILG, and then PNP, and then other concerned agencies. So number 5, capability enhancement. So yun, magdagdag ng manpower ba? Okay? Kinakailangan bang mag-procure ng machines, mga materials? Ilan ang budget na kinakailangan to procure those materials? And then ano yung methodology natin in rescue operation and others? So that is still under the pre-disaster stage. And then on number 6, production and distribution of information. Okay, and education material, campaign materials. Kaya kung mapapansin niyo, meron yung mga posters nakalagay dyan. In cases of fire, nakalagay dyan yung duck, cover, and hold. Yan ay para sa mga bata. Okay, dun sa mga schools, nakapost yan yung mga posters na ganun. So that is one of the campaign materials for fire or for them to be knowledgeable. Okay? In cases na merong mangyaring sunog sa kanilang eskwelahan. And then we have here on number 7, the conduct of community organizational work for various purposes such as sewage cleanup drive. Okay, the clogging of waterways, clearing of squatter shanties and unauthorized occupants, which is kung minsan nagkukos pa ito ng rallies or demonstrations or conflict between the demolition team or the clearing operation team with the civilians, okay, and then other community mobilization activities. So all in all, those are the activities that could be done under the pre-disaster stage. Now, we were not able to prevent the occurrence of disaster. Meron talagang nangyaring disaster. So nandito na yung disaster response stage. So this is also, or nandito na yung disaster incident management under this stage. So it is level 2 and the color coding is red. So there is an official forecast of incoming natural disaster. So it's either with the it is coming from the FIVOX, if that is on or in relation with volcanic eruptions. Or if not, nandyan ang pag-asa in cases of typhoons. Okay? So, any concerned agencies. Okay? So, nandyan, ano yung kinakailangan or ano yung pwede nating gawin dito under disaster response stage? Anong gagawin ng bawat concerned agency? So, nandyan, activation of the DIMTG, okay, of the PNP. So, Disaster Incident Management Task Groups. So, kung kanina, CIMTG, the Crisis Incident Management Task Group, yan ay for human-induced kasi yan. Commonly for human-induced incidents. Pero ito, DIMTG Task Groups naman ito ay in charge more on natural disaster. Okay? So, yan, activation niya within 24 hours before yung expected landfall or expected na pagtama nung disaster doon sa area. Okay? So, dapat naka-deploy na yung DIMTG or na-activate na ang DIMTG para may sagawa na nila yung plano nila or yung protocol nila. And then we have here the employment of alarm and warning systems. Okay? So, it could be the police sirens and other portable warning signs capable of producing loud wailing sounds. And then we have here the activation of the PNP Disaster Incident Management Committee also, the DIMC. And then we have here coordination with the NDRRMC to support its disaster response. Kasi ang ano talaga dyan, as a matter of policy, the one is in charge, NDRRMC, and then PNP is in support with that. PNP DIMTG and PNP DIMC. And then we have here the activation of the PNP SCDM National Disaster Operations Center or the PNP Subcommittee on Disaster Management. Kasi as we have said a while ago, the PNP CIMTG, it is, or PNP CIMC, it is composed of 4 subcommittees. So, isa na dyan, Subcommittee on Disaster Management. So, in charge talaga or specialized in disaster management. So, ma-activate din yan. And then we have here, activation of command post by task groups whose area is hit by the disaster. Okay? So, nandyan na yung barangay. Okay? Kung meron silang task group with that. And then, forced relocation or preemptive evacuation of residents in cases of flood or in flood-prone areas in coordination with corresponding local disaster risk reduction council. Okay? So, that is on number 7. On number 8, conduct of timely and rapid disaster response. So, according to the needs in disaster calamity area, such as search and rescue operations. So, dito na rin, under disaster response stage, nagaganap na din ang rescue operations. So, hindi lang po ang rescue operations magaganap yan after post-disaster stage. Hindi. Okay? That is conducted still on the disaster stage response. And now, we have here the post-disaster stage. So, nandito na support to recovery and rehabilitation efforts. And it is level 3. And then, color coding niya is white. So, with that, ang gagawin dito is get reports from the concerned DRRMC. Okay, the damage assessment and needs analysis of the affected area. Okay, for us to evaluate kung ano yung damage, kung ano ba, meron pa bang nawawalang mga civilians para magkaroon na ng idea kung kailangan bang mag-conduct ng search and rescue operations pa para sa mga nawawala na yon. Okay? And other concerns. Deployment of relief personnel for relief operations. In cases din, ang PNP sila din yung nagsusupport dun sa mga volunteers na nagkakandak ng relief operations. Okay? Provide security and traffic assistance to returning evacuees. Submit after disaster response report to Chief PNP with a copy furnished DRRMC. Okay, and then the activation of the PNP Subcommittee on Disaster Management by the Chief PNP. So take note of that. So with the or through the Chairman, Task Coordinator of the PNP, SCDM. So that is only in cases na yung situation talaga is already manageable in disaster-stricken area. Kung hindi pa, then there is no need or it is not yet ready to be deactivated. And now we have here the organization and structure of the CIMC or the Crisis Incident Management Committee. And then the Critical Incident Management Task Group. And then the Disaster Incident Management Task Group. Okay, so now we have here the Peace and Order Council. Take note, nandyan yung, or under nyan is the Crisis Management Committee. So the CMC is primarily concerned with the formulation of crisis management procedures. So integration and orchestration of government, okay, military and police and public efforts. So all the actions and decisions taken by the CMC is in coordination or it is in relation with the policies of the Peace and Order Council. Kasi nga nasabi natin kanina, CMC is under the POC or the Peace and Order Council. So as to the organizational structure, makikita ninyo dito, it is headed by a chairperson and it is composed of different support units also. So meron dyan for medical, legal support, logistic, community relations, public safety and security, social services. And take note, ang area kung nasaan nabibilang ang PNP, CIMC, CIMTG, DIMTG is nandyan sa public safety and security. Okay, so if you can see our organizational structure, mapapansin nyo dyan, under siya ng public safety and security under the Crisis Management Committee. Okay, and then we have here the PNP National Headquarters for Critical Incident Management Committee. So this is in support to the CMC or the mandates of CMC. So meron tayo dito yung 4 subcommittees ng PNP CIMC. So nandyan Subcommittee on Criminality. So ano yung role ng subcommittee na ito? So he shall take cognizance on acts or omissions against public laws which tends to prejudice the community and is punishable by the courts of justice. So nandyan, crime of murder, crime of homicide. Okay, so that could be the focus of the Subcommittee on Criminality. As to the composition, meron tayo dyan sa notes ninyo. Kindly just scan it and then familiarize yourself also with that. So take note that it is headed by a chairman, which is the TDIDM or the Directorate on Investigation and Detective Management. Okay, so take note of that. For us to the members, you can take a look on it on your notes. So hindi natin i-mention isa-isa dito. Okay, so for the next subcommittee, nandito yung Subcommittee on Destabilization or Public Disturbances. So it is in cognizance, okay, shall take cognizance on threats posed by destabilizers, which include military uprisings, demonstration, rallies, and sabotage of key installations, etc. So as to the composition, the chairman of it is the Directorate on Operations, okay? And then as to the members, still meron dyan sa notes natin. So kindly familiarize yourself also with that. And then we have here the Subcommittee on Terrorism. So they are in charge commonly on those crimes that are in relation or has connection or in connection with terrorism. So nandyan, minention nila Article 122. So Article 122 of the Revised Penal Code, that is on the piracy, okay, in the crime of piracy and mutiny. Article 134 speaks of rebellion or insurrection naman yan. So under Article 134A, that is in relation with coup d'etat. And then Article 248, that is in relation with murder, crime of murder. So those are cases that has something to do with terrorism, okay, or parang absorb siya ng crime of terrorism. So yan naman yung specialization or yung instances na ma-activate itong Subcommittee on Terrorism. So merong existence of crimes na nabanggit kanina. And then we have here, take note also that the chairman of the Subcommittee on Terrorism is the Directorate on intelligence. Okay, take note of that. And then we have here the Subcommittee on Disaster Management. So by the word itself, in cases or in charge, or it is activated, as we have mentioned a while ago, it is activated in times of existence of disaster. Okay, so ito yung tinatawag nila na SCDM, or the PNP Subcommittee on Disaster Management. So take note that the head or the chairman of it is the Directorate of Police Community Relations. Okay, so the TDPCR. Take note of that. And now we have here the Critical Incident Management Task Group. So take note, ang concern nila dito is more on human-induced. So kung mapapansin ninyo, meron kasi dito, or fina-follow nila, kaya meron yung mga division na ito. Fina-follow nila yung principle of division of labor, or principle of specialization. Kaya yon, CIMTG in charge kapag sa human-induced incidents. Okay, and then DIMTG, which will be later on discussed, is concerned naman sa disaster, okay, or in cases of natural disaster. And then for the organizational structure of CIMTG, as you can see here in our picture, meron tayo dyan. It shall be headed by an incident commander. And then that is directly, he should coordinate with the CMC also, Crisis Management Committee. Kaya mapapansin nyo, meron yung arrow sa gilid niya. And then meron tayo dyan, who will be designating the incident commander of the PNP, CIMTG. So nandyan, it shall be designated by the chairman of the Crisis Management Committee. And then for the incident commander, for the what we saw called negotiation team, it shall be designated by the incident commander naman, okay, of the CIMTG. And then for the admin staff, budget and logistics staff, and then for the intel and investigation staff, that should be, or he will be, or those persons will be designated by the chief, okay, chief of PNP. And then now we have here the critical incident management, still on the critical incident management task group. So yun, meron din yung leveling niya, okay, wherein meron din siya dapat on the regional, on provincial, city, and municipal level. Meron silang kanya-kanyang PNP, okay, CIMTG component also. Okay, so yun, the regional director, provincial, city director, or COP of the municipal police station shall have the authority to activate the CIMTG or DIMTJ that was created under their offices. Okay, so yun, that is all about that is the organizational structure of the CIMTG. And then what are the instances, or what are those things that are considered as human-induced critical incidents? So meron tayo dito incidents like abduction involving prominent personalities, okay, such as local and government officials. Yan. Kinidnap nila yung mga public officials. Okay? Meron involved dyan sa kidnapping is public official. Then that could be considered as human-induced incidents that should be covered by the PNP Critical Incident Management Task Group also. Okay? So not only public officials, pwede rin foreign nationals, religious leaders from various religious congregations, and other personalities whose involvement in incidents may result in controversies. So pati mga pare, pastor ng mga iba't ibang sekta, and others. And then we have here, on number 2, incidents involving national security, such as attacks on vital installations, communities, and prominent personalities. Inatake mga police stations natin. Police stations mismo, niratrat nila, okay, or inatake mismo ng mga armed group, okay. Meron din dito jailbreaks. So yun, that is needed to be dealt with by the CIMTG. Heinous crimes like assassination, ambush involving prominent personalities. Nandito rin on number 5, robbery, hold up, armored van robbery, and then bank robbery perpetrated by syndicated groups, committed by organized crime groups. Election-related violent incident. Okay? Surrender of enemy personalities and notorious criminals wanted by law. Nandyan din, coup d'etat. Okay? Coup d'etat, wherein yung mga kumakalaban mismo is kaanib ng gobyerno. Yan, gusto nilang gusto nilang ibagsak ang government. So yun, they are committing a crime of coup d'etat. Other similar man-made critical incidents that may result in human casualties or destruction of properties. So now, so that's it that is all about critical incident management task groups. So take note, they are in charge on all human-induced incidents. For disaster incident management task group naman, the DIMTG, they are in more concerned on the so-called disasters or natural disasters. So yan. Meron din sila dito yung organizational structure nila. So, take note, shall serve as special operational or operating task group of the PNP, Subcommittee on Disaster Management. Okay? And it shall be headed, take note of it, it shall be headed by an incident commander also. So, yun, nandyan, director of the SAF. Okay? It could be the deputy director of the PCRG. And take note also that the incident commander should coordinate also with the NDRRMC. So take note yung kanina, the incident commander of the CIMTG, he is in coordination with the CMC, while this one, he should coordinate naman with NDRRMC. So meron talagang division or specialization. Okay. So, yun. As to the function, nandito, the IMTG shall also be activated at the police regional offices. Okay? So, take note also, katulad ng CIMTG na merong para sa regional level, provincial level. Same with DIMTG. So, as a matter of rule, regional DIMTG shall be activated if 2 or more provinces or cities are affected by disaster. So, katulad dito, or example, ang affected ng disaster is probinsya ng Laguna and then Cavite. So, pumutok yung Bulkang Taal. Apektado ang Laguna, Batangas, and then Cavite. So, ang ma-activate dyan is regional DIMTG. Kasi dalawang probinsya, dalawang city ang involved. Provincial DIMTG naman ang ma-activate kapag involved dyan is 2 or more municipalities naman. Okay? So, apektado ang munisipyo ng ano ba ang mga munisipyo dito? Okay? Sa Cavite. So, apektado ang munisipyo ng Tanza, okay? Municipality ng Imos or City of Imos. So, yun, dalawang munisipyo ang involved. So, that is to be activated yung provincial DIMTG. So long as dalawang munisipyo yung activated. Apektado. Okay? So, for municipal DIMTG naman, kapag dalawang barangay ang apektado. So, Barangay Molino and Barangay Zapote. Okay? Or barangay, ano ba ang barangay nyo dito sa Cavite? So, nandyan, Barangay Molino, and then yung kalapit na barangay natin. So, yun, dalawa ang apektado. That should be, or municipal DIMTG is to be activated. Pero dito, binabanggit natin dito na pwedeng maitaas. Hindi ibig sabihin na dalawang barangay yung apektado is talagang ang in charge lang dyan is municipal DIMTG. Meron yung mga instances na kinakailangan talaga na itaas ito. Okay? itaas sa provincial DIMTG. Kung hindi talaga kaya ng municipal, then pwedeng itaas yan sa provincial or kung hindi man sa regional. So, ganun din yon. So, what are the incidents that are considered natural? Okay, natural disasters. Nandyan, floods, landslide, volcanic eruption, earthquake, tidal wave, tsunami, typhoons, drought, and other natural hazards that may lead to colossal loss of property and lives. Okay. So, nandito yung crisis escalation protocol. Okay. So, that it is under rule number 40 naman. Okay, ng PNP Operational Manual. So, dito, yung sinasabi ko kanina, in cases na hindi kaya ng mga local levels or lower levels, so hindi kaya ng municipal level, then that could be taken or that could be raised on the provincial, regional, or national level. So, what are the conditions that could be or situations that is to be considered in relation to the involvement of the CMC? So, nandyan, local PNP and then CMC are in control of the situation. So, appropriate resources are available and capable of municipal and city level. So, kung kayang-kaya pa naman ng local PNP on municipal level, then still, mananatili yan sa municipal or city. However, if hindi kaya, tataas na siya sa provincial. So, local PNP and municipal city level are unable to resolve the crisis within their capabilities. So, tataas yan sa provincial level. And now, kapag hindi pa rin kaya ng provincial level, pwede nilang iangat yan sa regional level. So, situation requires employment of security forces and utilization of resources of the regional level organizations and beyond. So, same as to the regional level, kung hindi nila kaya, papasok na dyan ang national level. Especially kapag yan ay involved or apektado is dalawang region. So, Region Calabarzon and Region NCR ay apektado. So, ang talaga dyan, may involved, okay, na level ng CMC is the national level. Okay, so that is all about the crisis escalation protocol. And then now we have here the general rules on media relations during crisis. So, ito yung kailangang sundin ng mga PNP officials din. So, as we have mentioned a while ago, ang haharap dyan is yung PIO. Pero unang-una dapat dyan or talagang may responsibilidad dyan is the unit head, okay, or the chief or ground commander. Siya yung magre-respond dun sa mga queries ng mga nasa press talaga, member of the press. However, pwede rin naman yan i-delegate yan sa PIO or spokesperson nila, as we have mentioned a while ago, the Public Information Officer. So, hindi liaison officer, but the PIO. Okay, and then, no information regarding the incident shall be released without clearance from the ground commander. So, siya lang yung magsasabi kung ano dapat yung pwedeng i-divulge or magbibigay ba ng comment or hindi muna. Ground commander must designate and establish a media area for pooled coverage and ensure safety of all media personnel covering the incident. So, isa rin yan na kinakailangang i-add sa protocol ng PNP. Inaalaw kasi nila, okay, meron yung mga iba na inaalaw nila na i-cover yung mga operations nila. That is for transparency. Yun nga lang, syempre kailangang protektahan din nila yung mga, kasi they are considered civilian, yung mga members of the press. Just like yung nangyari sa Marawi. Okay? And then we have here, media practitioners shall be confined to an area designated by the incident commander since they are still civilians, and then on that operations, hindi media ang naghahari dyan. So, ang masusunod pa rin dyan is the incident commander. So, kapag sinabi ng incident commander, manatili sila sa isang area, then doon sila dapat magstay. So, that should be also respected by the members of the press. So, hindi nila basta-basta gawin kung anong gusto nila. Okay, and then suspects arrested for any violation of the law shall in no case be presented in a firing line. Paanong firing line? Yung ihaharap mo mismo sa media. So, general rule, dapat iwasan yan ng PNP officials din or PNP members. And then in cases when information must be denied, withheld to the press, the basis of such shall be fully and courteously explained. So yun. Kasi hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon pwedeng i-allow ang media. Paano na lang kung masyado talagang violent yung bakbakan? Okay? So baka mag-cause pa ng death ng member of the press or members of the media. So kailangan i-explain yan sa kanila. And then ranking officer at the crime or incident scenes may provide factual information to the media subject to the limiting or limitation by existing policies. So hindi lahat is pwedeng i-divulge. In cases of interagency operations, the department agency with primary jurisdiction will determine the dissemination of appropriate media lines. Okay, so all in all, those are the general rules on media relations, crisis escalation protocol, and all about the PNP CIMTG, or what we so-called PNP Critical Incident Management Operational Procedures. So, tatlong rules ang na-discuss natin sa video recording na ito. So, with that, if you have some question, kindly state it on the comment section if you have. Or if not, you can just ask it on our synchronous sessions. So, I do hope that you have learned something in this video presentation. Thank you for watching, and then see you next time.